Okay, to get started, I have a completed project in Premiere Pro, so let's make sure our timeline panel is selected, and then use the Ctrl-M keyboard shortcut to open up the export window. The first thing you want to do in here is set the format to either H.264, which is your standard MP4 video, or HVEC, aka H.265, which is like H.264 but is more efficient and will give you a better file size. Okay, if you want a decent quality video and fast, you can simply select Adaptive Medium or Adaptive High Quality preset. The adaptive presets take into account your sequence's frame rate and resolution when determining what bitrate to render at. Then you could check Export at maximum render quality and hit Export. There, video done. See you in the next one. But for everyone else who wants to get an optimal result and learn more, let's go over to the Video tab. Now generally, you just want to use Match Source, which is going to match your sequence settings. Premiere makes this a default because native resolution and frame rate will look the most similar to your original footage. However, if you want to downscale, say 1080p to 720, the image quality should look better than your typical 720 video because of that added resolution. On the other hand, it's not ideal to upscale, for example 1080p to 4K, because Premiere Pro will have less pixels to work with and is going to have to guess and copy a lot of the pixels from the original shot. This will of course degrade its quality. Okay, next be sure to check Render at maximum bit depth to get the most quality out of your shots. Now if you scroll down to the Encoding Settings, you'll want to uncheck the profile so you can change it to high. I also recommend changing the level to 4.2 while you're here. Moving on to the bitrate, most of the time you want to use VBR because it's going to variably change the bitrate based on what's going on in the shot. Premiere will dedicate more bitrate to higher detailed scenes and less to lower ones. This makes your video size optimal while retaining its quality. CBR is a constant bitrate, which as its name suggests is going to be the same regardless of the complexity of the shot, and thus is less efficient and might make your video size bigger than it needs to be. For most things, VBR is better, so out of the two VBR settings, you'll usually want to use the 2-pass, which takes longer to render but will give you a higher quality video. Alright, next up is a target bitrate, which is the main thing that controls your video's quality. If you're uploading to YouTube, it's super helpful to know their recommendations for bitrate. Using these, you can get both the best quality and video size for your YouTube uploads. You can keep the max bitrate the same as your target, or you can increase it if you want to give your detailed shots a little more bitrate if they need it. Okay, next up, let's look at the audio settings. For audio, all we're going to do is change its bitrate to 320 to get the most out of our audio. We don't need to mess with the rest of these tabs, so let's just look at these settings at the very bottom. The only one of these I'd select is Use Maximum Render Quality to make your video look the best it can be, which should have very minimal effect on file size. Okay, that's really it for changes, but before we export this, it's a really good idea to click this Save Preset button that's located near the top of the export window. Now you don't have to watch this video every time you need your settings, you can just select this preset from the dropdown. And of course, to create our final video, we'll just click the Export button. But yeah, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you all found it useful. Thanks for watching and see you next time.